In this video, I'm going to demonstrate the use of the C# for loop. The for loop allows you to iterate through a series of commands until a certain condition is met. So without further ado, what we'll do is go ahead and create a new project. We'll call this 2304. And we'll create a quick application that shows how to create a for loop, and then we'll walk through it. So we'll delete the comments, and we'll do for int I equals 0, I is less than 10, I plus plus. And we'll do console.writeLine, and we will just go I.toString. So what this simple application will do is loop through a number of times, and each time it'll write the current number. As we begin, there are three parts to a for statement. The first part is called the initializer. This is where we've declared a variable called I as an integer. So we've called integer I, and we've set its initial value to 0. The next section of the for loop statement is the expression statement. This is basically saying while I is less than 10, continue on. So if I, after a number of times in this loop, becomes 10, then the loop will kick out, the for loop, and the application will continue on. The final part of the for statement is called the incrementer. This means each time around we're going to take the value of I and we're going to increase it by 1. That's what this nomenclature means. It means take whatever this value is and increment it by 1. Each time between the brackets, whatever code is between the brackets will execute the number of times that this loop goes around. So what we'll do first of all is just go ahead and compile this, because it'll be easier to see it in action than it is to explain it. And we will go ahead and move to our bin directory. Whoops. And we will execute our 2304 application. And when we do, it types 0 through 9. So first of all, notice that it never makes it to 10. It stops at 9, and that's important because, as our code suggests, that the statement is to continue while I is less than 10. Once I becomes 10, it jumps out of the for statement and continues any code that is after the for statement. So it's significant that you understand that it did not make it to 10. If we wanted to make it to 10, all we would need to do is add an extra value here, which is the equal sign. So as long as I is less than or equal to 10, then we can continue on. So let's quickly run that and run it again. And notice that it made it to 10 this time. Now, what you can also do is nest your for loops so that we can create kind of a set of coordinates, maybe. So what we'll do is comment out this line of code, and instead we'll replace it with another for loop. So what we'll do in here is for int j equals 0, j less than 10, j plus plus. And here we'll write console.writeLine Okay, so what I've done here, I have a lot of things going on here, a lot of pluses and quotes and things like that. What you need to keep in mind is whenever you see quotes that they come in pairs, so they go together. So we're going to write out an open parenthesis, then the value of I, and then we're going to write a comma, then the value of j, and we're going to finish it up with another closed parenthesis. And so this should write out our coordinates. So what will happen is I will go through, and for every time I is 1, j will go through 9 iterations. And then it'll come back to I, which will go to this number 2, and then it'll run that 9 more times, and then come around for 3, and it'll run that 9 more times. So let's do this. Let's do this 2 ways. I'm going to rebuild a solution, and we're going to go ahead and run it this time. And you notice a series of coordinates appear on the screen, and we can scroll back. You'll see 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and so on. Let's also watch this in action. What we'll do is step into our source code. Whoops, cancel that. What we'll do is set a breakpoint, and we'll talk about breakpoints at some point in the future. It's not really important now. This allows us to step through each line of code and look at the values. It's a pretty handy feature as you're building your application so that you can kind of see what is going on behind the scenes. Sometimes it's not always very obvious. So here with the yellow code, we can see that that is the step that the debugger is currently on. So I'm going to use the F11 button on my keyboard to step through each line of code as it would be executed if this were actually executing for real. Okay, I'm going to resize this briefly. Okay, so now I'm going to hit F11. So it evaluated the initializer. Now it's going to take a look at the expression statement, and it's going to jump in to the for loop, but it finds another for loop. So here we see an initializer and the expression statement, and then we're going to come to our first console write line. Now I'm going to hover my mouse cursor over the I and see that its value is equal to 0. And then I'm going to hover my mouse cursor over the J and see that its value is equal to 0. So we'll continue on, and we'll notice in our command window that 0, 0 has appeared. So now let's continue on. And we're going to go through this statement again. I is still 0, but J has turned into 1. Now let's see what we have here. It has printed out 0, 1. And we'll do just one more time, and you get the idea. Okay. So we have nested our for loops, and you can do this ad infinitum if you want. But we hope that you learned quite a bit about C#. We went into a little bit about the debugger, but also about for loops and how useful they can be in your programming. And hope you enjoyed this video.